Alrighty, welcome to the Writer's Block. The question of the day is, what is Juneteenth?
This is a fucking bore.
Whatever.
Anyway, Juneteenth is the celebration of the actual liberation or the knowledge of the liberation of African American people, particularly slaves in the United States on June 19th, 1865. All slaves had been liberated under federal purview by Abraham Lincoln, I guess you can say, with the Emancipation Proclamation, but everybody didn't know that. Everybody didn't have social media back then. Okay, so boom, this is what happened. The war was fought. The Confederacy lost. Although it took them 5 years over the 5-year lifespan of the Confederacy to admit defeat. What wound up happening is that not all slaves knew that they were free. Not all slave owners were necessarily willing to admit or confess that that their slaves had gained freedom. So the Union Army was commissioned to go throughout the states to let all slaves know that they were liberated. The last state that they went to, of course, had to be Texas, and that was June 19th, 1865. So we celebrate that because it's already a national holiday. It's already a state holiday in Texas, and that started in 1980. 47 states currently recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday, and there is legislation right now in the United States Congress to recognize it as a federal holiday. Hopefully other people don't have to get shot so that it makes that way happen, like Dr. Martin Luther King. But that's basically the history of Juneteenth. That's your real liberation, not...
it wasn't Trump that made it popular? It wasn't Trump who made this holiday? Oh.
No. If he was, he would have kept it on the day. He would have kept his rally on the day, and he wouldn't have moved until tomorrow. That's how bigly he thinks of himself. But it's important to celebrate this day because this is the day where you gained your actual freedom. And you
not the 4th of July.
Because they weren't fighting for your freedom on the 4th of July. But
they definitely did commission slaves to be on the front line to take all the shots and whatnot.
And what should also be recognized is that when you have your freedom, or what they taught us about freedom is that you should get it by any means necessary. And the I won't say the permissiveness, but the soul of a black person entitles us or allows us to fight for things we believe in, even if we're fighting next to people who don't necessarily view us the same. We have to remember at one point in time that there was legislation that viewed us as 3/5 of a person so that we could be owned as property and treated as animals. And we still love this country, even when this country is treating us like shit because it's all we ever known. So America has essentially had... Yes, and essentially all black men and women have been in a abusive relationship for the United States of America for their natural lives. And beyond that, we were just having a conversation about Henrietta Lacks, who had her cells taken and has been used over the course of history for the advancement of scientific progression with no recognition until a white person had to stand in and tell them that it wasn't right. The Tuskegee experiments where black men were injected with syphilis and gave syphilis to their wives and had children born with congenital syphilis because motherfuckers wanted to see how it worked.
How it's gonna work.
They do that to animals. They do that to animals. We test animals to see what happens to rats.
I mean, the whole study of gynecology and whatnot, initially started with them torturing female slaves and just performing surgeries and operations on them with no anesthesia, no consent, nothing. Just slapping them on the table and cutting them open and seeing what's inside.
And that's basically because they believe that black people cannot feel pain. And that was...
Which is still believed to this day. Like, the amount of black women that die during childbirth due to the fact that they don't believe that we feel pain is
or they feel that you are so ill-equipped to understand your own body and the things that you endure as a childbearing human being, that they will allow you to die because they think that they have more medical knowledge than you do knowing what's going on with your own body. The concept of proprioception in every human being's body allows us to recognize what is hurting, where it's hurting. That's how you can tell somebody that you got shot in the leg. And even though... Anyway, they treat us like animals. And by the way, even animals have the concept of proprioception. A dog itches, he scratches where it hurts. That's the concept. But alas, I digress. We have an abusive relationship with this country. We have almost Stockholm-like syndrome because they beat us, they abuse us, they deny us our rights, and then they tell us to go back to where we came from.
And we won't go.
Where? Down the street? Parkway fucking General?
Jackson.
Mount
Kings
Sinai?
County Hospital.
Aventura.
So let's get it right once and for all. Like, you're celebrating the history of your liberation in this country because if you're born in this country is yours. You don't have to go anywhere to prove yourself or prove that you're of value to anybody else because the African American man and women have proved themselves to be the forebears of this country. Just because you are technologically sound or just sound in the times of creating legislation does not mean that by your hands this thing was created. And all you did was create a system of rules that you didn't think would expand to every other human being on the face of the planet. When people thought about freedom, they didn't think about the Asians. They didn't think about the Africans. They didn't think about the people in India. They didn't think about people who were living in Madagascar. They didn't even know these people existed. They weren't thinking about people in the Ottoman Empire. They weren't thinking about Persians. They weren't thinking about Muslims. But they also created a document in the Declaration of Independence that is living and breathing. The United States Constitution is living and breathing. And because it is living and breathing and subject to change and a reversal of opinion, we had the 13th Amendment. We had amendments after that. We were able to pass the Civil Rights Law, or Civil Rights Act of 1964. And motherfuckers still got killed. So what we're doing right now in this era is more important than anything that we've ever done before because people are still dying. There are so many different microcosms of the black experience. Black people are upset that white people are killing them. Black women are upset that black men are killing them too. And every other race doesn't give a fuck. Or if they give a fuck and they don't know how to help. Or they don't believe that we've actually gone through what we've gone through. But it's amazing that you see races like Asians that were literally subdued and held in concentration camps.
Or maybe they feel like we're just dramatic.
They could feel like we're
Some
dramatic.
do feel like we're dramatic.
But once again, and then even
but it's the level of indifference. Like, if it's not affecting me, why am I gonna join your fight?
of course, but they don't understand that the fight has never been theirs because everybody has gotten reparations for things that they've been through. Those Asians, that's why Asian persons easily ran alone because during the period of time during World War II, they were put in the ghettos. As the Jews were put in the ghettos in wartime Europe, Italians when they first came over here, prejudiced against. Spanish when they were prejudiced against. Not Portuguese, but the Irish. The Irish were redheaded niggers. Redheaded niggers. Because they were different. Because their accent was different. And they were already being persecuted and indentured as servants in Great Britain. Everything that we've gone through and that we have endured in our experience of being black is not different. There is just a culture and a mindset that says, well, at least I'm not black.
And that's essentially just the American identity as well as the American dream. It's selfish and toxic and corrupt in itself. So
and like, I don't want to run this on too long, but the last thing I do want to say is that Juneteenth is Juneteenth. I don't give a fuck who didn't know about Juneteenth last year. Let them celebrate Juneteenth this year. And encourage them to celebrate Juneteenth next year and the year after that and the year after that. Make it a part of the culture.
Don't condemn those who didn't know before and say, oh, now you want to be woke? Yes, that's what the fuck happens when you wake up.
I feel like if we can dress these babies up and everything in these Star Spangled Banner bullshit every year because we want to look good at the cookout, move the cookout to June 19th. And you don't have to wear African attire. Bitch, I don't give a fuck if you wear a straw vest and go around like you were on the plantation. Celebrate some shit.
Celebrate yourself.
Celebrate that you aren't what you used to be and you farther than you were. And that's how we get Juneteenth celebrated like this. Thank you very much. But this has been the Writer's Block. I'm about to eat. That's us talking about Juneteenth. If this gets posted, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be talking about all the things that I missed. But let's have that conversation and not come on our post like they're a bunch of assholes. But besides that, have a good day.
That part.